Could we expect one more rodeo?
I don't know what life holds as far as fighting and competing. I do feel like I'll be a lifelong martial artist, whether I'm coaching others or taking exhibition matches or things like that. There's a lot of great competition still in the UFC. I do view myself as more than a fighter. And being in my position, I feel like I have a lot more options than a lot of the other fighters as far as the ability to leave and return and things like that. And so right now, I'm just focusing on love, happiness, kindness. We're in the quarter century mark. And this year should be a really special year. So this year, I'm saying yes to more opportunities. Hence me being here, meeting you.
So grateful.
I'm glad that I'm doing this. I've been meeting so many great people. I'm saying yes to more opportunities. I'm traveling more. I'm consciously being kinder to people.
Jon Jones has yet to show any genuine interest in stepping into the cage with Tom Aspinall, and frankly, fans across the MMA world are running out of patience. In recent weeks, the sense of frustration has only grown stronger.
But I think they just wanted that one more fight. They felt like it could be a big fight, and they're giving it their all. He gave them a number. They met the number. He said thanks, but no thanks. That's what happened. And I think he wanted deep down, as we read the tea leaves here, I think he probably wanted them not to come to the table. And then he said, hey guys, not on me, right? I feel like that's the safest bet.
Fight.
100%.
And that's it.
And what about this? There are people who have started a petition to strip Jon Jones. We're now at 115,135 as of maybe an hour or two ago when we took the screen grab.
This was actually, we took a first screen grab an hour ago, and it was at like 113, 114, and then an hour later it was over 115.
Okay.
Wow, I signed it.
Yeah, so, but here's the thing. Jon does also bring up a good point. If Jon told the UFC like 2 months ago, hey, I'm not interested, it's no longer on him.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So, like, you remember one time I sat here and I said the UFC is not to blame? And I said that because they met the number. But now if he tells them, hey, I'm not interested, all right, you could say, well, you're to blame because maybe you told them, hey, if you meet this number, I'm fighting. And then you could say, all right, UFC is now back to blame because he told them 2 months ago, you know, I'm out. Why didn't you give Tom Aspinall a fight? There's this whole thing. Now, I heard Dana White say recently, like, look, we got to give these guys 3 fights a year. Remember we talked about this yesterday?
Supporters have begun rallying behind petitions urging the UFC to take the heavyweight belt away from Jon Jones entirely. Whether you're for it or against it, the debate has become too loud to overlook. To be fair, no one's denying that Jon Jones is among the all-time greats. His track record says it all. But the reality is he hasn't competed in over a year, leaving the heavyweight division at a standstill.
An idea. He was the one who delayed and delayed and delayed till Francis was out the fucking door. He could have fought Francis a long time ago. If he'd just taken the chance of going up to heavyweight earlier, we could have had him versus a prime Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez was 240. Jon Jones is 260, 265. And you're telling me Cain Velasquez was too big for him? What a load of shit. Stipe Miocic could have fought him in his prime, another one who was no bigger than Jon Jones. So when he's giving it the big and being like, oh, well, people always think someone's going to come and dethrone me. And yeah, I get the narrative. That was the way at like heavyweight. There was always that next guy coming up. But you ain't never fought an animal like Tom Aspinall, who is as quick on his feet, who has the speed that he does at 260 pounds, who has the heavy hands that he does. You have never been in there with a beast like that. It's just not happened. I'm not saying that means Aspinall wins, but for people to do the Tyson Fury thing of going, oh, well, he's always won, so therefore he always will win.
The best heavyweight MMA fighter in the world. By default, that also makes you the baddest man on the planet. If you were toe-to-toe with any other man in the world, you could them.
What do they call him? SAS? He's trained to maim and hurt. These people are trained to they want to render you lifeless.
Completely agree, but I do have a counter argument. We are trained to hurt each other. That's part of the sport. They are trained to poke eyes, knee in the groin. When the rules are taken away, who's to say that we can't headbutt them? If we're talking no weapons, you could get any MMA fighter and put him against a SAS special. 9 times out of 10, the MMA guy will come out on top.
At the heart of this heavyweight gridlock is Tom Aspinall. Based on what's circulating in interviews, podcasts, and social media, a growing number of voices are suggesting that Jon Jones might be steering clear of a showdown with Aspinall, and not because of recovery or scheduling issues. Many believe it all comes down to the risk factor.
If I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an asshole that I don't want to do business with him. You know, it's just like his fans have been so annoying. And obviously you don't get this far in a career being affected by fans or whatnot, but he's just an asshole, you know, with his, you know, he's 30. So he's from this influencer generation where you hop online and the t-shirt sales and all that. I'm past that type of stuff. I'm like, bro, if you had a little bit more respect, then maybe we could have worked something out, you know, but I just don't even want to do business with him. You know, at the end of the day, this is a business, and fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity. Like he just played his cards wrong with me personally. And you know, I'm 3 years from being a 40-year-old grown man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, the press conference, going through the whole shebang with him, I'd rather not do. Pajeda on the other side, respectful, cool, barely says much. It's like, I'll do business with you. I would risk it all with a human being like you. You actually have the accolades to back up your shit. This other guy is just a big mouth who's hot today. There's been so many guys who's hot today who are just gone. You know, Sergey was in the same position not too long ago. Now he's starting to fall off already. I've just been around this sport too long to give a big mouth who's hot today the opportunity. Okay, so I feel like narratives have been created that just truly aren't there. You can't duck a man that you were never scheduled to fight. It's like saying you got turned down by a girl who you never even hit up. You know what I'm saying? It's like me and Dana and Hunter have never sat down and talked about Tom Aspinall. He's never been on my radar. I mean, just a moment ago, it was him and Sergey that was fighting. Sergey could be in this position right now, and I would still be in the same place of I've beat people my whole career, and once I beat them, like the show just goes on. I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge. And everyone wants to see it so bad. But for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me? He changes nothing if I beat him.
Let's be honest. Tom Aspinall is a stylistic nightmare. He's younger, quicker, and technically sharper. His movement is more like that of a middleweight, yet he carries the punching power of a true heavyweight. He's demonstrated poise in high-pressure situations, devastating knockout ability, top-tier grappling skills, and a calm, calculated demeanor that makes him genuinely dangerous.
Who's next big heavyweight star?
Tom Aspinall, the guy who
Of course,
won the interim title. He's phenomenal, and he is again the next the next advancement of the evolution of the sport.
How so?
Well, because he can do everything. That guy's got elite jiu-jitsu. He's got elite takedowns. His striking is outstanding. Like, I've seen a lot of heavyweight, even Francis, who's like the greatest, scariest power striker I've ever seen in the heavyweight division. No one's scarier than Francis. Francis does not move like Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is significantly faster than every other heavyweight. That's a real problem because he's a heavyweight and he's a big guy, a really big guy, but he moves so fast. And so his speed has always been like extraordinary compared to other heavyweights. Like, he just fucking moves in. It's all like fast, explosive movements. So he's got natural speed, but then he's also got a lot of training to execute quickly. So when he moves in, he closes the gap. You can see like he's fast for a big guy.
Right.
I want to see it so bad.
John was shitting all over Aspinall, saying that
I think that's
lucky,
a bad way to go.
He was lucky that he blew his knee out with Curtis Blades because Curtis was teeing off
Doing
on
well.
him. Unless John avoided him, unless John used his wrestling to avoid exchanges, you know what that's all about.
Correct. It's called the Shop Shutdown.
The Shop Shutdown.
I saw a 7-part
They did with
series on
Cyborg.
it. Yes. The Stipe fight, which is just like, it's a weird thing.
Aspinall's an athlete, man. He's such a good athlete.
Freak athlete.
Very fast. Very fast for a heavyweight.
So fast.
Yeah, but we felt the same way about Cyril Gahn, though.
Yeah. But
Cyril Gahn doesn't have wrestling, doesn't have jiu-jitsu. Aspinall's like legit on the ground. Very legit on the ground.
So legit
dad-
that his dad owned a jiu-jitsu gym. His dad's a black belt. He started doing jiu-jitsu at 2.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Aspinall is past the first round, right? Because we've seen him. He looks so fast. He looks, you're like, nobody moves like him. He looks like a younger Kane.
Right.
But he just keeps knocking these guys out so quick. So I'm like, let me see him past the first round to see if he has that cardio as well.
When you compare that to Jon Jones, a fighter who's been on the sidelines recovering and possibly contemplating retirement, it becomes a bit more understandable why some believe he's steering clear of the matchup. But looking at it from Jon's point of view, the situation might be more complex. He's openly stated that his legacy is already secure. With over a decade of dominance and victories over some of the sport's biggest names, he doesn't feel the need to prove anything. His move to heavyweight was about legacy, specifically a high-profile clash with Stipe Miocic. From Jon's camp, taking on a dangerous but relatively unproven champion like Tom Aspinall might just seem like an unnecessary gamble.
And of course, it's been pretty interesting, all the stuff that Jon Jones has been saying to the media this week, and I'm sure there's more to come, but check out these.
You're beating guys who aren't even champions, and you consider yourself a champion. He's not a champion.
So Jon said I need to fight more champions, but this is the problem I've got. Jon is the champion, and he won't fight me. And he says that he won't fight me because it's too much of a gamble.
Aspinall to me is no different than an Owen St. Prude or Dominic Reyes or Anthony Smith, being like just another up and comer that's exciting right now. And I'm not into gambling my legacy for what's exciting.
And Jon, if you're not into gambling your legacy, that to me sounds like you're scared of losing against me.
And honestly, that perspective is understandable. But at the same time, holding the UFC heavyweight title carries a certain weight. It's more than just a trophy, it's supposed to signify the top active heavyweight on the planet. Meanwhile, the interim champ is out there demolishing contenders and actively calling for a title unification, while the reigning champ seems focused elsewhere. That kind of disconnect creates a real issue. A division can't thrive when it's stuck in limbo. That's why the pressure is building. Prominent voices in the MMA world, like Ariel Helwani, Michael Bisping, and Chael Sonnen, have all highlighted this as the fight that needs to happen. Fans are also pushing back, saying Jon can't lay claim to GOAT status if he won't face off against the most dangerous name in the division right now.
Jon Jones' legacy is intact, and all the stuff he's saying, there's been this story that's been going on and on and on and on. But this one I could understand why it may have upset people, triggered people. Did you guys see on his IG Live, he was talking about the accusations that he is a duck, that he's ducking Tom Aspinall. Look, he's doing this reality show with Nathan Diaz in Russia, and I'm told that the money is just absurd. It's astronomical, get paid, well-deserved, both legends of the game. I totally understand it. But here's the part that I very much disagree with him. It's not about you, Jon. It's not about you. It's not about your life. It's not about your story. If you want to enjoy your life, if you want to be a part of a reality show, if you want to take that money and delay things and hold someone else's dreams back from becoming a reality, that is ducking. That is ducking, because there is a time-honored tradition in this business, in the sport, in combat sports, in fight sports, in sports period, that the whole thing has to move along. It's not about your story.
Even some fighters have publicly stated that it's time for the UFC to make a decision, either schedule the fight or vacate the title. And honestly, they might be onto something. Tom Aspinall isn't just a promising contender, he's the real deal. The way he dismantled Sergey Pavlovich, his continuous evolution, and his composure under pressure all point to someone who's already championship material. If Jon Jones chooses not to fight him, that's his prerogative. But if that's the direction things are headed, then the UFC needs to stop acting like the heavyweight division still has a fully active champion.
He's elite as a heavyweight. A lot of the heavyweights, they're good, they're very strong, they're powerful, but they're not as quick and as agile and as technical as Tom. Tom's the whole package. You know, he's like, there's a fighter called George St. Pierre, who's one of the greatest to ever do it. Tom's like a heavyweight George St. Pierre. He's got no weak areas. He's got absolute knockout power, super disciplined, super agile on the feet. He finishes everyone really, really quickly. However, he hasn't gone up against somebody like Jon Jones because, as I said, the competition in the heavyweight division isn't necessarily there on a technical level. Jon Jones is. And Jon Jones has fought way better competition. than Tom. That's just a fact. But Jon's never fought anyone like Tom either. Jon has never fought anyone the size of Tom, and that can generate that kind of power. He had 2 heavyweight fights, one against Cyril Garner, who took him down really quick and he choked him out. And then he went up against Stipe Miocic. He was really good, and he had a good little goal. But he was 42 and he hadn't fought for a while, and he's getting on. Tom's 31 in the prime of his life, and I would be very surprised, and this sounds disrespectful, but I'd be very surprised if he got out the first round.
Tom Aspinall is the one showing up, staying ready, and injecting new life into the UFC heavyweight division. If Jon Jones is ready to hang up the gloves, that's completely fine. He's earned that right. But holding on to the title while staying inactive isn't fair to the division. The belt shouldn't be held hostage because the division and its fighters deserve better.